Hey everyone, this is the Josh and Dewy podcast, League of Champions Fantasy Update. My name is Dewy, and my sidekick Josh decided not to show up, so looks like I'll be going solo today. And we're just gonna hit off this pod with recapping the big games that happened this past week in week 5. We're going to start off with, of course, I want to talk about myself, not because I'm conceited that way, but mainly because, again, I was a part of the biggest blowout. Story of my life, a continuing theme of everyone's players always blowing up on me. It's fine, it's cool. Of course, Frank Gore on KK's team decided he wanted to score a touchdown and be the Frank Gore we knew in 2010. But who's complaining? I'm not complaining. As the commissioner, I can just do whatever I want and perhaps change the points in my favor. But I'm not corrupt like that. But yeah, I had the biggest blowout, and just an update for you guys. Yes, it is true. I am 0-5, a past three-time champion who is 0-5. The future is not looking too bright, but you know, I'm not here to win championships. I've already proven myself. I'm just here pretty much to break hearts, to ruin playoff hopes. Moving on to our other games, it was amazing to see two close matchups that were within less than a point away. I mean, in the exact same week. What are the chances? And so let's go into our first match where Andrew Song, Arts and Craftsy, played against and Win, the winners. It was literally a point 0.7 difference. Andrew Song scored 101.25 and Win scored 101.95. And you know what the worst part is? Andrew Song literally started all the correct people. He had Andy Dalton for 30.35 and DeAndre Hopkins, who I believe is leading the league in targets at 22.4. The feeling just can't be any worse than that. If you look at and Wins, it doesn't look like a very spectacular day for his players. But luckily for him, Brandon Cooks, who I traded to him, you're welcome, scored 19.2. And DeMarco Murray just finally decided to show up. Congratulations. 21.5 points. But it was a very late touchdown. I mean, I can't see DeMarco Murray getting those kind of touchdowns in a lot closer games. So that could be a fluke week. And Ann's defense decided to get 14 points as well. So, congratulations to Ann. I did say you had the most overrated team, and I thought your team would start going downhill, but it looks like your fortunes are looking positive in a sense. Um, now that you've proven me wrong, keep doing it. Shove my words in my mouth. That's all I'm going to say. The next match that was also even closer was with my sidekick Josh Lee, Mad Max, and Daniel aka Ego, aka I'm sorry F Jackson. That match was even closer. One of my ties prediction almost came true. Josh scored 93.65 and Daniel scored 93.75, a point 0.1 difference. That's literally a yard. I remember Josh Lee had Danny Woodhead on Monday night, and I think all he needed was maybe 10.2 points just to tie it up. And the Chargers actually had a chance to give Danny Woodhead the ball, and it was honestly looking good for Josh. Like, how hard is it for Danny Woodhead to just get 0.1 points? This guy's a PPR machine too, so even if he gets a catch for -2 yards, he'll still get 0.3 and surpass Ego. But, that's the thing about fantasy. Not everything is going to go your way. So that's why fantasy football is almost entirely luck. Danny Woodhead was absolutely nowhere to be seen in the end of the game. So Josh Lee ended up being 0.1 short, and that feeling must suck. I mean, talk about he's already been hurt from Kelvin Benjamin, Jordy Nelson being out, but now he has to suffer this loss. But what I say in the end is, at least you have a win. Just remember that. At least you have a win. But props to Ego. His team did really well. Drew Brees with 18.65. Shane Vereen with 21 points. That was really good. And Arian Foster at 16.3. So, you know, still we give all the credit to the winning team. Next, we'll move on to the next hot topic is what happened in our league with Jamal Charles. So, to recap what happened in our draft back in July, Steve Wong decided to go all in on three main players. We did an auction draft, so he spent, I believe, about 70% of his $200 income in the auction draft on Andrew Luck, which looked good at the time, but clearly he's not playing. Eddie Lacy, uh, he still gets the carries, so that's really good to see. There is a bright future in that, but he's still not the top 5 back we thought he would be this year in fantasy. And third, his third primary back, Jamal Charles. Now that he lost Jamal Charles, Andrew Luck doesn't look like he's doing any well. Eddie Lacy's going downhill. Steve, your team is looking bad. I'm sorry to say it. And the worst part was he couldn't even pick up his backup, Sharkandrick West. We do an auction free agent bidding war. Steve only, I believe, had $25 left in his account. He spent all 25 on that bid, but I think that was probably the 5th highest bid. And it went to, congratulations to Ann Wynn. You paid $98, your whole income. I think that's worth it. This fantasy football is all about high risk, high reward. And honestly, I said it last week. I mentioned this earlier in the pod. I thought you had the most overrated team, but now you just went from the most overrated team to possibly a top 4, definitely a title contender. So congratulations to you, Ann, on Charkandrick West. Hopefully I'm saying that name right. If not, then yeah, whatever. So let's move on to my next segment that we want to do. I was hoping to do this with Josh, but I guess I'll do it by myself. And is it time to panic? Or, bro, don't worry, keep it chill, you're good, no need to worry. So our first person I wanted to bring up was Andrew Song. You just suffered a heartbreaking loss. You're now 1-4, 11th place out of 14. And here's Dewy's advice. It's time to panic. Push the panic button. Call it a season. It's not looking good. LaShawn McCoy, we don't know when he's going to come back. Who is your main back? Tony Romo is still hurt, rehabbing. He's not going to come back probably until after Thanksgiving. It's not looking too good. I know Andy Dalton did really well for you, but how long will the Bengals really keep this up? We know who Andy Dalton is. The Red Rocket that doesn't put up these fantasy numbers usually. I say push the panic button. Give up. Move on to next year. All right, with that, I already spoke about Steve Wong a little bit. Is it time to panic or keep it chill? And like I said, with the loss of Jamal Charles, Andrew Luck's health is still in question. Eddie Lacy's not the back that we thought he was going to be. Dante Moncrief being affected by Andrew Luck. Antonio Gates, I mean, that's a bright spot, but can one guy really carry you? I say your top 3 players that were supposed to carry you to the championship. It looked great on paper in the beginning of the year, but now it looks like poop. So I say time to panic. Just call it a year. Make something happen. Make a trade. I say sell Eddie Lacy or Andrew Luck while you can. Next, we have Daniel. He just beat Josh Lee by 0.1 points. And now he officially has a healthy Arian Foster. He's finally getting Adrian Peterson back from his bye week, who he didn't get to play last week's, which is why you saw not as much scoring as you thought he would do. So I say it's looking uphill from now. He has 3 awesome backs, Shane Vereen, Arian Foster, and AP. That is a scary lineup to look at each week. So I say, Ego, it's going to look great from here. You're not in the playoff hunt right now at 2-3, but I expect possibly a 5-game winning streak moving forward. So, keep it chill. Don't worry, you're not in the playoffs right now, but expect the winning streak to come along. Another person I have is Kevin Huang. So, Kevin Huang came up to me earlier today, and one of our other members in our league, Daniel Kim, aka, what is your name? Beast Mode, proposed a trade to you. And I believe the trade was. Let me look at my phone real quick. I believe the trade was Kevin giving up Willie Snead. I think it's Snead. Willie Snead, Devontae Freeman, who is red hot, and Deshaun Jackson. So those are the three Kevin would be giving up in exchange to Daniel Kim for Julian Edelman, who's also red hot. Dion Lewis, he could be the real deal. Still a small sample size, but he looks like he's having a bright future. And CJ Anderson, who I said was the biggest fantasy bust of the year. It looks like an even trade on paper, but Kevin, I do not like the fact that you're giving up Devontae Freeman. He is the best back in the league right now. I say hold on to him. It's not time to make a trade. I know you did just lose and you are 1-4, but let's flirt with other players in the league. I think Devontae Freeman, people are really high on him. I think you can get a better deal than what Daniel Kim gave you. So, not time to panic. Just hold on to Devontae Freeman unless you just receive an offer that you cannot refuse. But let's not panic just yet. Yeah, so that ends that segment. We'll move on to matchups for week 6. Hopefully y'all are still listening. I know just listening to Dewy Pack talk is not the most exciting thing to listen to, but hopefully Josh Lee will be back and we can get it going as usual. But yeah, enough of that. Let's go on to the week 6 matchups. So we have Dewey Goodell versus Daniel F. Jackson. Ego's already scored 19.8 points with Drew Brees. Of course, he's going to go off against me. Like I said, Ego has Arian Foster, Adrian Peterson's back from his bye, and Shane Vereen. It's a really scary lineup, and I'm gonna be real. As much as I want to pick myself, I'm probably gonna have to go with Daniel. He's probably gonna beat me. Next, we have KK Waka Flocka Flame and Jonathan King, Charm City Chaos. The lines say KK minus 0.6. So, I mean, are we expecting a tie? Possibly. My gut feeling is telling me that Le'Veon Bell is just looking great, who's on KK's team. But Jonathan King still has Aaron Rodgers, Matt Forte, Gronk, who I just love that combination. But if Joe Flacco continues to play the way he did last week, which I highly doubt because the Ravens are looking terrible, but luckily they always play from behind, so we know Joe Flacco is going to throw that ball, so he does have a high ceiling in that sense. But I still think I agree with Josh from last week. Your team's a little overrated. I'm going to have to go with Jonathan King with this. Even though you are not the favorite, Jonathan King, I think, you have the slight edge. Next, we have Beast Mode, Daniel Kim versus Josh Lee, Mad Max. Josh Lee already has a bad start from his kicker, Matt Bryant, only scoring 3 points. But Daniel Kim's defense, Atlanta D, only scored 0 points. So not a good start there as well. The lines before those points came out was, I'm not going to really do the math. I'm just going to kind of estimate here. Josh Lee plus 15. I don't think I've ever seen that before. You're not even projected 90 points. That alone means Daniel Kim's going to win for sure. Next, we have Josh Yo versus Andrew Song. Josh Yo has already scored 21.75 from Matt Ryan. Already a great start. He also has AJ Green. Actually, what's going on? Why is he... Oh, That's not looking too good. So it looks like Josh Yo has Amari Cooper and Joseph Randle on a bye. Ooh. And it looks like Andrew Song still has everyone playing. The only person is out potentially is LaShawn McCoy, but he still has DeAndre Hopkins leading the way. T.Y. Hilton could pick it up this week, especially if Andrew Luck decides to come back. I know he has been practicing, but it's not for sure yet. Ugh. Both these teams, they both have their weaknesses and they both have their upsides, but even with the loss of Joseph Randle and Amari Cooper on bye, Josh Yo, I'm going to say you're going to have the win. It does also help that you already have a 21.7 lead. Next, we have Danny Choi, Hardball So Hard, and Steve Wung, Gotta Catch Him Jamal. Like I said, Josh, you lost Jamal Charles. I'm not going to go too in-depth with this. Danny, I think you have the win, even with starting Matthew Stafford. Hopefully Big Ben comes sooner than later. That way your team can be the team we thought it was, a.k.a. the best team that I said in the draft. Next we have An Win versus Kevin Huang. The lines have Kevin at -4 points. Like I said, I think, Kevin, it's not time to panic. Your team is just going to go uphill from here. But I also said that Ann's team is looking really great, especially with Charkandrick West. Either way, I'm going to kind of contradict myself. But Kevin, like I said, you had Devontae Freeman, 31.6 points this past week. Keep him. Don't ever trade him. I'm going to go with Kevin. It's only going to look bright from here. You're going to go on a win streak. Don't worry. You got this in the bag. And last, we have Adrian Beat-A-Son, Mac Vu, and Stephen Min, Mary Goat. Mac already has Mark Ingram at 19.1 points. Mac also has Phillip Rivers, Keenan Allen. Great combination. Alshon Jeffrey's hoping to come back. Alshon Jeffrey is the wild card. Who knows which Jeffrey we're getting? I don't know if it's the Jeffrey from 2 years ago who broke out, or if we're going to get the continuous, my hammy hurts and I'm only going to play like 6 downs. Steven still has his 3-headed monster with OBJ. We hate the Giants. Emmanuel Sanders and Jeremy Maclin. But I know Julius Thomas, Steven's tight end, did not have a great week last week. I believe he only had 3 points, but Blake Bortles, surprisingly, has been killing it. They are throwing the ball like no other. I believe I saw this stat. Let me pull it up real quick. I was just shocked. Where is it? So, from the 2014 draft class from receivers, you have Odell Beckham Jr., Jordan Matthews, Brandon Cooks, Allen Robinson, and Allen Hurns. Most of our listeners probably have no idea who Allen Hurns and Allen Robinson are. They are both Jacksonville Jaguar receivers, and they are the top 3 in yards and touchdowns for that class. Allen Hurns with 27 receptions for 430 yards and 3 TDs. Odell Beckham right behind him at 30 receptions for 428 yards and 3 TDs. Allen Robinson at third place, 22 receptions, 402 yards, and 4 TDs. Who would have thought Allen Hurns and Allen Robinson outdoing Jordan Matthews and Brandon Cooks? So, with that, I think Julius Thomas will pick it up. He will be that third tight end who's just going to kill it with Blake Bortles. Steven, I'm going to, like I said, you're going to be the champion. You got in the bag. Yeah, so that pretty much ends this pod for the week. Josh, I hope that you come back for next week's segment. And yeah, until the next time.